Crystal Newman, Jennifer Sheldon. Here. Dana Wells Jenny.
Here.
Tim Wood.
Here.
Has everyone brought any comments to the public up? Everyone's brought them up, okay. Public comments.
Start with Erin Andrews.
Good evening, members of the board and fellow community members. My name is Erin Andrews and I live at 120 Bowling Drive. Today I stand before you to shed light on a group of individuals who are the backbone of our educational institutions, but often go unseen or underappreciated, and that is our support staff. From administrative assistants to educational aides, these dedicated professionals work tirelessly behind the scenes to ensure the smooth functioning of our schools. They are the friendly faces that greet us every morning, helping to create a warm and welcoming environment. This commitment to creating a nurturing space for our children should not be overlooked. And in my heart, it doesn't feel like it's the place we should be looking in order to balance a budget. Our administrative assistants are the first point of contact for students, parents, and visitors. They handle an array of administrative tasks with efficiency and with grace. They juggle phone calls, manage schedules, all while applying Band-Aids and hugs to the hurt. Mostly they provide essential support to teachers and administrators that help ensure the smooth operations of our schools. Their dedication allows our children to arrive at school ready to learn, ensuring they have a positive start to their day. Paraprofessionals are a vital partner in the education process. They help us provide one-to-one or small group instruction, and they can reinforce lessons and offer struggling students to grasp a challenging concept. They help bridge the achievement gap and foster academic growth. Throughout my years as a K-12 student in Pennfield, as well as my time here as an educator and now as a parent of a little Panther, I have watched our support staff actively engage the students, building meaningful relationships that foster trust and create a positive learning environment. By closely collaborating with teachers, parapros gather valuable insights into individual student needs, allowing for targeted and tailored instruction. They provide essential feedback that contributes to the development and implementation of effective teaching strategies. Our support staff serves a pivotal role in guiding students with special needs and ensuring their participation in the regular classroom setting. Their compassionate support makes inclusion a reality, empowering all students to thrive academically, socially, and emotionally. They serve as mentors, role models, and advocates, helping students navigate challenges, build self-confidence, and develop essential life skills. They hold a crucial role in helping facilitate positive behavior management, promoting a safe and inclusive climate that encourages respect and cooperation among all students. In conclusion, our support staff and our teachers are an indispensable asset to our schools. The positive impact of their presence and care cannot possibly be overstated tonight. Thank you for your consideration and your attention this evening.
Thank you.
Next is Erin Mosier.
Erin Mosier. I'm a teacher. I live at 60 Garrison now. I've been a teacher in Pennfield for 10 years, 11, not sure. And I just wanted to speak to some changes that I've noticed most recently in the last 24 hours, but even over the last year. When I first came to this district, I loved, and I've been in 2 others before this, that I always felt this district made decisions based on as best they could that was in what was best for the students. And in the last couple of years, that has changed for me drastically. I feel that decisions are being made. We all understand the constraints of a budget, but I think we're making some of the wrong decisions, and I think that the people making those decisions don't understand the implications those have on our classroom. I'll start with our para and support staff. I know that on paper, according to other districts, it may appear that we are overstaffed in that area, and we are. The 2 districts I came for before, I didn't have any support staff. It was just me versus them. And but I always found that as a strength, as a selling point of Pennfield. More adult to kid ratio, more chances to intervene and help. And as you know, the needs of children over the past few years are increasing socially. They're coming in less socially aware, less socially capable, less behaviorally capable, less academically capable. And those paras and those support staff help us to meet those needs, especially when we may have more paras than other districts, but we have less in the way of other support staff. We have way less special ed support. We don't have IRR rooms. We don't have as many programs to help students with ASE and the plethora of other things, of other special ed situations that are sitting in our classrooms. We have students throwing desks. We have students swearing, kids that are aware of things that they shouldn't be. We have one behavior coach. Last year, our counselor at K2 was let go. We have no K2 counselor, and kids coming in with incredible emotional deficits. Those paras help with that. They also help academically. My class this year started off on paper, academically, which is all anybody, we only care about scores. They were low. If it had just been me, they would have gotten intervention maybe 3 to 4 times a week in a really good week. With the help of Title, we could have gotten to them 5 to 8 times a week. With my classroom aides, those students got 15, 16, or 17 small group, one-on-one, specific targeted interventions each week in what they needed academically and some socially. We have let go, and then we've also let go of some teachers, and again, we have increased needs and we're making class sizes bigger. I don't understand how that is in the best interest of any child. We're letting go.
I'm sorry, your 3 minutes
Sorry,
are up.
thank you.
Next is Becky Curtis.
My name is Becky Curtis, and I've taught at Purdy for 21 years and also a 1991 graduate of Pennfield. Both of my children graduated from here in 2015 and 2016. When I was a little girl, I would walk up to Purdy and dream of being a teacher in the very room I teach in. I'm speaking because I love Pennfield and I want our community to feel the same love I have. And right now, many staff members do not feel that way, and neither do families. I come before you not to be another complainer, but to offer insight and suggestions on the impact of last week's email to the entire staff. On the eve of our final day of Teacher Appreciation Week, we all received an email informing us of the many cuts that were going to happen on May 17th. We had 5 long days to speculate who it would be. Waiting until the last minute to announce or release things as budget cuts, layoffs, and meeting agendas may cover things legally, but it is not the best way to communicate with the hundreds of people you all have been elected to serve. The feeling in the buildings were nothing less than panic. Our morale is low. This year, I hear many wonderful families expressing that they are leaving our district, and many discussions of talented staff wanting to apply elsewhere. The way the news was delivered left nothing but terror and created chaos. There were many tears, people worrying about how they were going to be able to support their families financially, and how we educators in the trenches with this post-COVID world we live in would be handling our trauma students. Even the children felt the stress that each and every staff member were feeling this week. Who would it be? We all waited for the news to come and be delivered, and we watched our beloved coworkers get escorted to the office and then had to comfort them with the aftermath of tears, all while administering the end-of-year testing. While we can understand budget cuts, I speak for many people when I say it's hard to understand how the building of a new stadium and putting in turf comes before hiring staff such as counselors, nurses, and paras. What you hear on the news is really happening in our school on a daily basis. In my 21 years of teaching at Purdy, I've never witnessed the meltdown of students as I have these past few years. The terror that many of them inflict on peers and staff during their violent outbursts and evacuations of classrooms is sometimes too much for us to handle, and it happens often. Our support staff is essential in helping us juggle these many hats that we wear every single minute of every school day. Our job as educators has become overwhelmingly stressful with all of the behaviors, reduced parent support, teaching the rigorous curriculum, and being held 40% accountable on all of our evaluations for every single child's data growth. We need to feel supported by our elected officials and upper administration, and we don't. My solution to separate me from just being another complainer is to come talk to us. We need support. We need board members and upper administration to visit our buildings often. At Purdy, we want to see our board members visit our buildings during school hours, much less stay and experience what we teachers and staff handle on a regular basis. We need communication so that we can help our community understand when problems arise and try to eliminate negativity.
Thank you.
Come on.
Carrie Jenks.
I'm Carrie Jinks. I live in Kalamazoo. My daughter is a student at Dunlap, so I have a lot of chances to get to know students when I volunteer in the buildings. I also have a 20-year-old who has been through every grade in Pennfield. I know that the teachers, aides, and secretaries are all amazing and do so much for our students' learning. I had a chance to talk to some students when I was volunteering in the building today and asked them how the aides helped them. A few things the kids shared were they help with spelling and reading. They help finish work when kids have been absent. They help kids learn to be organized and organize materials. They answer questions when the teacher is with a group or teaching a lesson. They help in an emergency. I also asked how the Dunlap secretaries help them. Students said that the secretaries call home when they are sick, give them messages when plans change, help teachers get things they need, give them Band-Aids, ice packs, and magic mitts. Check their temperatures when they don't feel good. As you can see, the secretaries do much more than unlock the door for visitors, answer the phones. They help our students feel safe and cared for. As you can see, there are so many ways the aides and secretaries help our students be successful. We all know teachers are so important, and research shows smaller class sizes lead to better student success. Keeping our teaching staff, keeping classrooms open, aides to support kids, and secretaries to run the office, these things all help our students learn, grow, become productive citizens. What does TURF do for our kids' future?
All right, that's the end of public comments. Moving on to number 6. Superintendent Lemmer will deliver a presentation regarding the
I appreciate everybody being here. The past couple of weeks have been incredibly difficult, and I guess the only thing that I can really say about it is I appreciate you sticking around to gain some more perspective into the issues that we're facing and how I'm trying to work to find the best possible solutions for the obstacles that we face. Our budget issues are not something that's been created overnight. It's something that unfortunately is an impact of how school funding works in the state of Michigan. And so just want to share that information with you. The big thing that people need to understand is that here in Pennfield, about 93% of our funding comes from state sources in the form of a per pupil FTE that's given to us for each student that comes into our school district. And based on that, that is how we have to pay for all of our salaries and benefits, our operations of our buildings, how we pay for keeping the lights on, the maintenance, the toilet paper, the supplies that we have, all of those things come from the per pupil allocation. Other sources that would be separate would be things like the food service fund or federal monies that are earmarked for very specific things that we're able to do with them. And so I put together this chart because I think that it speaks to the issue that we're having. And that is that it is an enrollment issue. It's not that we're paying people too much. It's that we don't have enough students in the district to justify the way that we're spending money on salaries and benefits. In 2018, our enrollment was 2,077.13, and you might say, well, how do you have a fraction of a student? They blend your spring enrollment and your fall enrollment together, and that's how what you receive is calculated. So in 2018-19, the state per pupil allocation was $7,871. And in a district that was budgeting healthy, we would have budgeted 80% of that $7,871 towards staff salaries and benefits. We budgeted $7,837. So that left $34 for all of the other expenses that we incur inside of the district. So at the end of that year, we had about $70,622.42 to keep the lights on, purchase toilet paper, school supplies, all the things that we need. In 2019 and 20, our enrollment, we had a nice bump in our enrollment up to 2,173.57. And I'm sure that that was a great celebration. But we spent on salaries and benefits $8,529 to the $8,111 that we received per pupil. And that left us with spending $908,552.26 on salaries and benefits, not to mention whatever else we had to spend on our operations. In 2021, our enrollment declined again, $2,124.33. We were held harmless, not 33 cents, 0.33 people, sorry, I'm so tired. We received the $8,111 per pupil because we were held harmless. It was during COVID. And during that time, we weren't operating our buildings in full capacity. If you recall, most of our learning was done remotely. In that year, we spent $8,302 per pupil. So still above what we were getting, but you can see that at the end of that cycle, we were at $405,747.03 in the hole before we took into consideration all of the other expenses. In 2021, our enrollment dropped down to 1,991.83, and our per pupil funding went up to $8,700. We spent $9,271 per student in terms of benefits and salaries. And that left us last year with $1,137,334.93. I'm not a rocket science, but I'm an educator, and I think we're all intelligent people here. And anybody that can stand here and tell me that we don't have a problem, I guess I'm missing something. Because we have a problem. We're spending more money than what we're getting per student, and we need to be able to invest in things like instruction, the curriculum work that needs to be done over the summer, the ongoing technology infrastructure, the athletics programs, believe it or not, are considered instructional. This chart came from IDEX. They take and they benchmark your school district in comparison to peer districts. So they take all 500 school districts, they put it through, some system, and they analyze and they find districts that have the same number of kids, the same demographics, the same free and reduced lunch rate count, the same similar types of communities that you would live in. Pennfield is the blue line. Our peers, so the districts that are just like ours, similar to ours, is the green line. The yellow line are the average of all the local school districts and public school academies in the state of Michigan, right? So sometimes the average works, but sometimes the average doesn't work when you're comparing apples and oranges. So it'd be one thing if our peer grew was just like our trajectory. But our peer group is not. This is Pennfield up here. And what we're spending on salaries and benefits, and our peer group is the green line down here, close to the yellow line, the average of all the others. And when I look at this graph, what I see, looking all the way back to 2008, and looking all the way along, is that the problem that we're facing right now, it didn't happen because I came here. We're facing it because I recognized it. This is a problem that needed to be addressed in the 2018-19 school year before we had COVID here. This has been an ongoing issue that we've been spending beyond our means. And along the way, there was additional monies that were provided to the school district through ESSER funds that were allocated towards air conditioning and new univentilators at both Purdy and North Penn. And that money sat on our books because we had to order things, we had to find people that could do the work. It took like 2 years. And so it made things look pretty good, like we had plenty of money, but we were still spending beyond our means. That money was allocated. If you look at our revenue, again, we are the blue line, our peers are the green line, and the average of all the others is up here. When you look at our revenue, we're below most school districts in terms of what we receive in revenue. This wouldn't be a good graph necessarily to compare to the average because it's got, you know, very large 30,000 student districts that may have lots of federal revenue coming in. But when you look down here, these are our comparison districts. This is Pennfield. The yellow is the state revenue. We are extremely reliant on our enrollment compared to a lot of these other places that have significant portions of additional revenue coming into their district. We don't have additional revenues coming into our district. We don't have programming outside of our instructional programming and our K-12 education that we provide to our students. And so the issue that we have is that our expenditures are exceeding our revenues. And they're exceeding our revenues because we're spending more on salaries and benefits than we are on anything else. When you look at our expenditures, these are general fund expenditures per student. So here we are. We're the blue line. Our peers are the green line, and all the LEAs are the yellow line. And what I see when I look at this graph is like what I saw a couple graphs ago. This problem did not arrive this year. This problem has been here for a few years and it has not been addressed. We don't have an audited budget right now, but when I do the math of what we're spending on salaries and benefits, that number a couple slides ago of $1 million over, it's more like $2.6 million over. The amount of cuts that I'm proposing to the board to make don't even equal $1 million. The board here values our employees and wants to be able to award compensation increases to their employees. They understand that in order to retain us, we need to have an ongoing compensation increase. But we can't do that if we continue to employ the number of people we have based on the number of students we have. And this graph illustrates here our general fund expenditures per student. That previous slide I showed you, we are spending $9,700 per student on salaries and benefits. But in terms of all of our expenditures, so operating our facilities, maintenance, grounds, toilet paper, paper towel, $10,946 per student. So if it puts it into perspective of how things are broken down, I would say that the value is placed on paying our employees. I think that this is something really critical to keep in mind as well. These are key financial ratios. This is a graph that as school employees, parents, community members, board members, every year, you want to see this graph. You want to see where your district lies. And when I saw this graph, I was a little nervous. Prior to COVID, this line right here represents districts that were going to go into deficit and where their finances were the year before. You never want to drop below it. And you see that the year before COVID, we dipped below. It looks like it went up and like we were doing great, we got all these revenues, right? But that's ESSER funds. It's not real money. That money was allocated towards air conditioning and univentilators at 2 of our elementary schools, not towards salaries and benefits. In 2019, we dipped below the line. We were in great danger. The odds were not in our favor 1 year from that marker of being a school that was a deficit school. And I don't know about you, but I certainly don't want to work somewhere where we have an emergency financial manager telling us how to spend our money and what we can pay people. Again, the red line, the deficit districts. You don't want to go above the line. And in 2019, we were above the line. The odds were not in our favor. And again, ESSER funds made it look like we're doing all right. We got plenty of money. But I'm telling you what, that money's off of our books, and we're not doing all right. We don't have the students we need to stay here. And I don't think they're gonna magically appear out of thin air. I don't. I think that families are moving out of the area. I think that our area doesn't have big developments for people to build homes. People have owned their homes for a long time. They're not having babies. We're not gonna just magically produce the students that have left the area. And we can't be back here because once we're back above that line, you have about a year to a year and a half before your fund balance is to that 5%. It goes extremely fast. This is our instructional expenditures per student trends. So looking at us, the blue line, looking at the green line, our peers, and the yellow line, all of our peers. When I look at this, I think, wow, we did a good job last year. We beefed it up. We bought a curriculum. We're still below where our peers are and what we allocate to instructional expenditures. This is our 2022 proficiency data, our state assessment data, MSTEP data, compared to our peer districts. So these would be our 3rd to 8th graders. We scored last. If you look at our 11th grade data, so that'd be this year's seniors, and you look at our proficiency data, we're not in the top half. If you look at our MSTEP and proficiency data from 2009 to present, I think everybody had a dip in 2021 and bounced back up in 2022. But if you look at where we're at, we're significantly below, going all the way back to 2015. Looking at our PSAT proficiency levels, so this is last year's 8th graders, this year's freshmen, we're second to last out of our peer districts. Looking at our SAT scores, we're the blue line, the yellow's the state, and our peers are the green line up there. We're significantly below. And that's been an issue since 2019. Looking at our graduation rate, so the number of students that are starting our school on a four-year cohort that graduate 4 years later, we're the blue line. And that's a huge, huge downward swing. And looking at our dropout rate, you can see the inverse relationship. As much as I want to stand here and say what we're doing is working, I can't. I respect every single person in this room tremendously. I know we all come to work and we work hard every day and we give everything we have to this district and to our students and to our families, but what we are doing is not working. And the hard part of my job is making sure that we have a budget that is operable. And I mean, even like in my own personal finances, I would not make it very long if I spent more than what I made every single week. My savings would be gone in a hot second. And I'm not looking to destroy the quality of education that we provide our students. I hate laying people off. I haven't had to do that in a decade. It's the most painful, excruciating, worst thing ever, especially when I feel like it's a problem I didn't really create. I understand it destroys morale, but if Pennfield ever needed to be a family, it's right now. We have to be solutions focused. In all honesty, I'm standing here tonight before the board feeling kind of proud that I haven't slept in a week and a half, and I only have to lay off 12 people instead of 32. And I hope we don't have to lay off anymore. That is my honest hope for us moving forward, is that we can right size and adjust and that we can bring people back to work. When I look at the attrition from last year, we had 7 retirements, 6 resignations. I had to lay off 6 teachers. It was extremely painful. I believe in my heart of hearts, and maybe I'm too optimistic, that this isn't going to be a long-term problem. We've hired, I think, 10 parapros in the last year. And over the summer, we lost some, and in the short amount of time I was here last year, we lost 6. I had to lay off 2 parapros. I'm grateful for that right now because I believe that based on who's here to be solutions focused and keep us moving forward, we're going to be able to bring people back to work. But at the end of the day, I can't fake numbers. I mean, that's not going to do us, there's no way we can do that, and there's no way Angina's going to let me do that. You can't. And so these are the facts, right here, that our enrollment is decreased. We are solely dependent on enrollment in Pennfield. I don't see that changing either. So we have to make sure that we're doing things, I think, in the best way within our means, because there's no bailouts, there's no line of credit, and it just is what it is, and it's heartbreaking and it's horrible, and the last thing that I would ever want to have to do or imagined I would have to do. And so I apologize for that. Any questions?
Thank you very much for all the information. Moving on to number 7, items for approval. Superintendent Limmer has recommended to the board approve the resolution for layoffs as a result of the declining enrollment in Pennfield schools. Do I have a motion for the resolution?
So moved. Support.
I have a motion from Tim, supported by Brad. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Motion passes 5-0. Moving on to number 8, board comments.
I just I wanna say we appreciate all of you. I know this doesn't feel very appreciative, but we have to go based on the facts and what we have, and, it's not an easy decision for any of us, and I'm sorry.
If there's nothing further, 6:35, I'm gonna adjourn this meeting.
Hi, my name is Linda. I am not only a taxpayer, I'm an alumni. I am a 2020 graduate from here, and I have students up here. When you Google Pennfield, you will see it says learn, grow, lead. First word being learn. How do we intend to do that without the appropriate amount of teachers? Student to teacher ratio. Crazy. If I wanted my kids to have a poor education, I might as well just put them in Bellevue and give them the funding for it while you still get my tax money. If you Google the superintendent pay for Calhoun County, we are number 3. Harper Creek number 4. We have roughly 9,000 residents where they have 16,000. They have roughly 700 more students than us. Why are we only paying 26,000 less for our superintendent? I do appreciate when you came on board, you did the face-to-face learning. That did a lot. I feel like the environment that has been created for the staff has been everything but what was quoted in the articles I've read in the Inquirer and the radio. It's not a good culture. It's not a good climate.
Make sure you're making all your comments to the entire board, please, and don't call anyone specifically out. Thank you.
Sorry. I just want to say that I know you guys feel unappreciated and unheard, but there are people in the community that do support you, and we appreciate you. That is all.
This meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Access Vision. Your voice, your community.